This is tutorial 4 for the users of DeepKymoTracker. Step 4 allows you to manually correct segmentation errors after automated tracking and segmentation has been applied to the movie in the previous step. Let's start by button go to step 4. We are now in the window of step 4. Apart from usual black fields for the user instructions and for the feedback from the program, you can also see a small status window here. It was designed for your convenience. For example, when you have to edit long movies with many stills in each frame, it's easy to lose your focus, and this window can be very helpful in this case. Now it says no movie loaded yet. There are two segmentation techniques available here. The first one is called fast edit mode, and the second one is the slow edit mode. What's the difference? The fast edit mode speaks for itself. You don't need to draw anything when you use this method. You just left click on the cell an unlimited number of times at a new location each time. And the segmentation will be changing automatically with every click. And all you need to do is just to choose the optimal one. This is a very fast and nice technique because it doesn't require a lot of effort from the user. All you need to do just keep clicking on the cell. Slow mode. Slow mode is actually traditional hand drawing mode when you draw a contour of the cell with your mouse. If you were unable to achieve a good segmentation in the fast mode, you can switch to the slow mode and start drawing the contour of the cell manually. You can also see the zoom and pan buttons here. These are traditional helper tools needed for manual segmentation correction, but they are disabled at the moment, as you can see. Let's start by pushing button 1. We need to find our tracked movie. So this is the name of our tracked movie tutorial. Let's open the folder. And so the tracked and segmented movie is loaded now. You can use the slider to scroll through the frames. There is some useful information here as usual about the movie, like the path to the movie, the number of frames, frame size, and so on. The active window is the window to the right. You can see that each frame is given in two channels. This is the green fluorescent channel, and this is the bright field. And as I said, the active window is to the right. That's where you are going to do all these manual corrections. The fluorescent channel is active now, as you can see. But if you prefer to work with the bright field channel, you can switch it using this button. The nice thing about this is that you can switch from one channel to another as many times as you wish, and any moment you like during the process of manual correction. The only exception is the pen stage, but you don't have to worry about it as these buttons will be disabled at this stage anyway. So the plan for this tutorial will be as follows. First, we practice fast editing without any additional tools, without any zoom or pen tools. Then we explore zoom and pen tools in detail. And the next and the final step will be to learn the slow editing mode. To start, you need to right-click on the cell you want to correct. That's what the instruction window says, and that's what the status window says. So let's start with this cell. Let's imagine that we are not happy with this segmentation and we want to correct it. What should we need to do? We need to right-click somewhere on that cell here, and you see that immediately many things happened all at once. The first thing that happened is that the contour over the cell turned red. The next thing, you can notice that there is a magenta circle here. It appeared exactly where you just clicked. The magenta circle is a helper circle. It will be there throughout the whole process of segmentation correction of that particular cell. Finally, you will be asked to right-click inside the circle to save your edits. As you can see from here and from here, the fast mode is automatically activated once you right-clicked the cell. The reason why it was implemented in this way is that it's better to start your editing with the fast mode. because it requires less effort and time. And only if you didn't manage to get good results with this fast mode, you might want to resort to the slow technique. There's also a cheat sheet here. Cheat sheet is the list of actions you can perform with your mouse. Why do we need it? The thing is that these actions listed here are different for the fast and slow modes. And that is why, to prevent confusion, it's a good idea to have them at hand. So we are now in the fast mode, and that is why you can see the fast mode cheat sheet. But once you switch to the slow mode using this button, the cheat sheet will be changed. Now, according to this cheat sheet, let's go over this list of commands which are given here in this cheat sheet. The first command is choose cell. First action, choose cell. You need to right click on the cell. That's exactly what we did now. Then the next action you can perform here is to create contour with left clicking. That's what we are going to do now. So let's start clicking on the cell, left clicking on the cell body, and you can see immediately that the segmentation changes with every click. You can even click out, a little bit outside the cell, like here and here. What's going on here? Why does it look so nice and easy? The secret is that every time you left click on the cell at different locations, the pre-trained segmentation neural network is applied to perform the segmentation of this cell. It is the same neural network which was utilized during automated tracking in step 3. The segmentation of the cell obtained in that step wasn't good enough because the tracking neural network calculated the centroid of that cell not accurately enough. And it passed these not very accurate centroid coordinates to the segmentation neural network. In other words, the segmentation error we are trying to correct now happened due to the tracking error. And what we are doing now when we keep left clicking on that cell, we are trying to correct the tracking error. The segmentation neural network takes the coordinates of your clicks and the centroid's coordinates and tries to segment that cell using these coordinates. So our clicking is essentially a trial and error method. So the next step is to save your segmentation. The cheat sheet says to save contour, you need to right click inside magenta circle. That's why this magenta circle was actually implemented. So let's do it. And the contour of the red turned back to its normal color. You can repeat this procedure with as many cells as you wish in this frame. Let's try and segment this cell. I right clicked on it. Now I start left clicking until I'm happy with my segmentation. And then I save by right clicking inside the magenta circle. You can also go to some other frame and repeat the process again. So let's segment this cell, click around it. We are happy. Okay, this cell, click around it. Okay, now, no, it's not good. Now we're happy. You can even go back to the cell which you just corrected. Let's do it. Maybe you change my mind and want to further improve the segmentation. Okay, let's save it. So now you know how to apply this fast technique without any additional tools. Now is the time to learn how to use the zoom mode. So let's suppose that we want to improve the segmentation of this cell. What do we need to do? We need to right click on it. Then when we are in the fast mode. And then, as usual, we start left clicking on the cell and surroundings. But then all of a sudden we realize that we can't see properly our segmentation. We definitely need to zoom in. What do we need to do? We need to push this button, start zoom. Let's push it and see what happens. And what happened here, we immediately get the magnified image of that cell, and it's positioned in the very center of the window, which is quite convenient. And now you can, as you are still in the fast mode, you can resume this left clicking to see how the segmentation changes with every click. Well, we already achieved quite a good segmentation. So all we need to do now is to save. And to save, the segmentation we need to right click inside this magenta circle as usual. Okay. And what happened now? We are back in the initial frame and the segmented cell is here. You can tell it by this magenta circle, which is still here. And the contour of the cell turned back to its initial color, which is the indication that the edits have been saved. Now you can repeat the same procedure with this cell, for example. This time, let's start zoom immediately. So again, our magnified cell is in the center, and we start left clicking on it. Click, click, click. Oh, maybe it's good. So let's save it. We are back in the ignition frame, and our green or lime cell is here. Okay, so the question is, what else can you do when you are inside the zoom mode, when the zoom mode is activated? Let's activate it once again. It turns out you can actually do 3 things when you are inside the zoom mode. The first thing, you can use the mouse wheel to further zoom in and zoom out of the image. That's exactly what I'm doing at the moment. This was the first thing. The second thing, you can swap the channel. You can get back to fluorescent channel, for example. And the third thing you can do, you can move around the window, this image, this cell, using pen mode. To this purpose, to this end, you should activate start pen. You can see pen activated here. And the cheat sheet says drag with the left mouse. So I'm starting dragging. Of course, in 90% of cases, you need the cell to be in the center of the image. It's more or the window. It's more convenient. But let's pretend that for some mysterious reason, we want our cell to be here. What happens? So we positioned here, I start clicking, and for some reason, nothing happens. The thing is that I forgot to stop pen. I forgot to push this button. So I stop pen. Now I can resume my left clicking. And you see that the contour of the cell does change. Okay, once you are happy with the result, you can push to save the cell. Why do we need this pen button? It can be handy in some cases. Let's choose some very long cell. For example, I want to improve the segmentation of this long cell. And let's pretend that I click somewhere on the body of the cell, not in the center, but on the body of the cell, just somewhere. Let's activate. And what we see here, the picture is not very beautiful because even though the magenta circle is in the center, but the cell itself not. What do we need to do? We need to make some corrections. So first of all, we can zoom in a little bit, and then we can use pen button to position our cell in the very center. So this is a good example of how this pen tool can be useful. And we save the cell. As I said earlier, the goal of this tutorial is to teach you 3 things. First, how to use the fast technique. Second, how to apply zoom and pen tools. And the third, how to use the slow technique. Now we have mastered the first 2 tools, so it's the time for us to move to the last one, to the slow editing mode. The thing is that however appealing the fast segmentation technique might seem, sometimes it's simply impossible to obtain a good segmentation by endlessly left-clicking on that cell. And in this case, you have no option but resort to the traditional hand drawing, which is called slow mode here. Let's suppose that we want to improve the segmentation of this cell. Again, to start editing, you need to right-click on that cell. And the best approach is to start zooming immediately, because we do need magnified image of this cell in most of the cases. So we are in the fast mode as usual. And now we start left-clicking, trying to improve this segmentation. And let's imagine that even after many clicks, we are still unhappy with the result. So it's pretty obvious that it's impossible to get this segmentation using this fast tool. What do we need to do? We need to push this button at last, activate slow mode. Let's do it and see what happens. As you can see, many things happened here after we activated the slow mode. The most noticeable thing is that the red contour around the cell has disappeared. It is done to make room for a new contour that you are about to start drawing. Otherwise, the picture would have looked too cluttered. You also notice that we have a different cheat sheet here now. It's a cheat sheet specifically for the slow mode. Let's go over the actions listed here. We have 4 actions on the list, and 2 of them are the same which we used during the fast mode. The first one is choose cell, it's a right click, and save contour, you need to right click inside the magenta circle. So these 2 actions haven't changed. But to create a contour of the cell, you need to do something really different this time. Namely, you need to draw the contour with the mouse, with the left button of the mouse. So let's start doing this. By the way, when you are inside the slow mode, you can do the same 3 things inside this zoom mode, which you did before. For example, you can swap bright and fill channel. Now the bright fill channel is active now. You can also zoom in and out using the mouse wheel. That's what I did now, but I'd better get back. And you can even pan the picture. You can move it around like this. Okay, stay here. So I started drawing, but let's imagine that I started drawing and I'm unhappy with the result. And this particular drawing is indeed not very good if you look at the bright field channel. Let's get back to our cheat sheet. Apart from the previous actions, we have something new here, namely the action which allows you to delete the contour. To be able to do it, you need to right click anywhere on the background. So I'm actually unhappy with the contour and I want to delete it. So I'm right clicking on the background and this wrong contour disappears. You may also want to delete the contour if in the middle of drawing your hand suddenly has shaken, for example, like this. Okay, I'm deleting it once again. And this time I'm trying to be careful drawing this contour. Okay, let's pretend that it's quite okay. And so to save the segmentation, you need to push to right click inside the magenta circle, just as before. Now we have the improved segmentation of the cell and the color of the contour has turned yellow again. You can do the same with other cells in this frame. You can move from to other frames as usual. One useful thing about this slow technique, which is worth mentioning, is that the hand drawing tool allows you to draw the contours of overlapping cells as well. Let's try and do this. To this end, I need to find some 2 close cells. Here they are. So let's pretend for the learning purposes that these 2 cells are overlapping, but our algorithm failed to segment them properly in the previous step 3. By the way, the trained neural networks we utilize in step 3 have not even been trained to perform the segmentation of overlapping cells. The algorithm currently segments them in a very crude way. And that is why the only way to sort out such cases is to use the hand drawing tool here in step 4 of DeepKymoTracker. So let's start doing this. Let's choose the yellow cell first. And of course, it's better to magnify it immediately. And so I need to activate slow mode. No, I need to zoom out a little bit. So I'm zoomed out a little bit, and now I can activate slow mode and start drawing the contour of this overlapping cell and drawing even on top of other neighboring cell, orange cell. So now I'm saving this contour, I'm back in the full frame, and I can repeat the same with this with the other neighboring cell, overlapping cell, orange one. Let's choose this cell, start zoom. Let's zoom out a little bit and activate slow mode. And now we can start drawing on top of neighboring yellow cell. Again, we need to save our edits, and here we are. You should bear in mind that if you want to re-edit this segmentation, of occluded cells later. You should make sure not to click on the intersection of these two cells. The algorithm will not be able to recognize the cell you want to edit. But probably it's pretty obvious. And the last question we need to discuss is how to save and exit. As you probably noticed already, the usual buttons back, exit, and next were hidden most of the time in step 4. This is done on purpose. This is done to force you to save your edits before exiting. So we need to push button 6, create final movie and Excel files. And only after that, the above mentioned buttons will appear on the screen again, and you can now exit. It's important to know that it's not necessary to complete the whole cell movie in one go. You can interrupt the process anytime and come back to the movie to continue with editing later. So I'm exiting now.